I believe he's joining us from his ski lodge right now. All work and no
Indeed,
play.
I am.
All work and no play makes Ian Rapoport a dull boy. Joining us here on the program. What's going on, Ian? Where are you? All sun-kissed and snowbound.
So I'm in Deer Valley.
Okay.
I'm at a ski lodge in the middle of the mountain. I hope you guys can hear me. Okay, there's chaos going on around me, but I got AirPods in.
Okay, yeah.
I am a fully mediocre skier with very, very sore quads, so I welcome the break.
Okay.
It's good to be joining you.
And it looks like a freshly purchased lid from the Deer Valley Pro Shop. If judging by the logo right there, yeah.
Yeah.
What happened? You didn't
it was
have
a great
one?
purchase.
You didn't have a
I didn't
hat?
have one.
Oh, boy.
No, I mean, look, it was a mad scramble packing, so I forgot a hat and I forgot all of my T-shirts. Other than that, I'm doing fine, but only $32. So I think it looks great.
What, did you bug out? You bugged out of
Dude,
New York, Ian? What happened? What?
There was a lot going on the last 4 weeks. I'm just happy I'm happy I made it. I'm just happy I made it.
Okay. And so you're a mediocre skier. So what are we, one single black diamond? What are we? Are you a green square? Where are we, Ian? What are we got?
No. We're, I would say, blue to double blue.
Oh, okay.
This trip, I decided to figure out how to actually ski, so we got an instructor for my wife and I.
Okay.
So maybe by the end of this, I'll be better than mediocre, but we'll see.
Okay, Ian Rapoport, breaking skiing news. Everybody right here on the program. Okay, so let's just jump into it here, if you don't mind, in the few minutes that I have you there from your ski lodge and your ski vacation. What is up with Maxx Crosby? Is there anything up with him, Ian? Is there any smoke there? Because he makes it seem like, I don't want to be bothered by any of this, but it seems like there's a reason to bother. Ian, no?
Yeah, there is reason to bother. This is definitely not nothing. I just don't know what it is yet. And the reason why is look, there'll be plenty of times when you see smoke around a player and you get to March 10th, 11th, 12th, and then, okay, now we learn why this player gets traded. I don't know if that's going to be the case with Maxx Crosby. This is as complicated a situation as I can remember. I'll go through the reasons why.
Okay.
One, I heard you talking in the previous segment about the way his season ended. Yes, that had an effect on him. He wanted to play. It turns out he had a significant knee injury, but he wanted to play and was upset that he didn't get to finish on the field with his teammates. Okay, so and for the Raiders, they got the number 1 pick. So whatever took them there, you can argue it was worth it. But he was upset. Then he has surgery, and it's not a trim; it's a repair. Now it's a pretty good. I don't want to say minor, but not as major a repair as it could have been. So
you're talking about Maxx Crosby's knee, Ian Rapoport,
Maxx Crosby's knee. So it was a meniscus repair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually months, not weeks. So I don't think he'd be cleared to get traded in March anyway, unless somebody wanted to take a leap of faith. So you're probably looking at more the draft or, around August for a possible trade. And then they promoted his position coach to defensive coordinator, to which one person very involved in this situation said to me, the plot thickens. So it's very, very complicated as far as where this goes.
So does that mean that whatever happened last year wasn't Pete Carroll related? That whoever ordered the code red for him to sit down is still there, essentially, Ian? Is that because one would think a change of regime might have automatically taken care of whatever he was pissed about. So I guess we can sort of connect dots. No?
Yeah, I mean, it was an organizational decision and also a medical one because he did have a major injury. And I think that's what's tough. And this is sort of the reason that players are not always great sources on their own injuries. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to play. So I understand why he wanted to be out there. Here would be my thing. He has been as loyal a soldier as you could ever imagine. He has been a great Raider at a time where there's not been a lot great. I've always wondered over the past month or 2 months, does the organization say, you know what? We are going to do right by you and send you to a real contender and rebuild with the draft picks. That is an option. I just don't know at the end what they end up doing. I just know, for him, yes, you could say things will be better, but he's heard that, to be fair, probably 5 times.
Okay. So what do we look for? You think if anything happens, we're talking about August, or could this be a similar situation as Myles Garrett? And they sprinkle a little bit more Davis dollars on top, and this thing goes away. Ian.
Money solves a lot of things. I am not naive. Okay.
Right.
If when in doubt, you know, money, generally money. He's got two raises the last 2 years.
Right.
And I really feel like he just wants to win. So look, if they give him a big bag, people like money. So my guess is that would probably help. But I really just think he wants to be part of something that is meaningful and headed in the right direction to play like good football in December and January.
Okay. And what do you think the Raiders do at one overall? Is it Fernando Mendoza coming in? You connect them to the new coach and Clint Kubiak, and off they go. And that might be something that could be sold with Bowers and Genty and a draft and free agency. And suddenly this is a fixable situation in that regard, Ian?
That's the argument. I mean, that is absolutely the argument, right? It's draft Fernando Mendoza, which I do believe will happen. You know, we're going to get a closer look. It's such a great picture.
Yes, right. I love the kid.
I mean, that is him. Like all emotion and energy, a little awkward, but all emotion. That is a great picture. You can sell it like you just did. They got great weapons. I think the offensive line was coached horrendously last year. They're going to play better because they'll be better coached. If you were to say to me, like, what's their offseason look like? I would think it looks like the Commanders' offseason from 2 years ago, where they spend in free agency, but it's a lot of like mid-level guys to make up for some bad drafts. So like just fill the roster with pretty good players. And like here's the real problem. And again, like you kind of just said it. We've seen teams turn around so quickly. Like every year there's a couple worst to first. So like if you're the Raiders, like you know this is what they're thinking, right?
What are the Dolphins up to, Ian?
You know, yesterday was an interesting day because it was what we all expected. I mean, I think everyone knew Tyreek Hill would be released. Obviously, Bradley Chubb, we knew he was going to be released. A bigger question for Tyreek is just like, when does he play again? Like, that is as bad of a significant injury as you could get. Like, is he able to play by midseason? Hopefully, I think that's realistic, but we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that one made sense. It does feel like a full reset for Miami. Like, even Tua himself has said a fresh start would make sense. That seems to be the direction they're going. Now, I don't know what form it's going to take. Like, can they trade him? I know they would like to. But how feasible is it? I think that's certainly a question. But it certainly looks like a full reset. And like, you know, when we were all kind of freaking out when the Dolphins fired Mike McDaniel and it was looking like a rebuild, this is why you do it. So you can say, you know what? We're not worried about the previous regime. We're not worried about people's feelings were going to be hurt because we signed them or we drafted them. We're just going to start new. And I liked the hires they made. I think John Eric Sullivan has been, you know, a GM in the making for several years. I think, you know, the personnel staff that he is creating is going to be really good. I think Hafley's going to be really good. They just need to start new. So my guess is that is with a new quarterback. And the only thing that's weird for me here is Quinn Ewers may be good. And what we saw last year was pretty promising. So I'm really curious what the internal evaluation of him is going to be, because they may say, like, they're going to add a veteran anyway, but they may say, like, okay, we think we got one and we'd like to have him go play.
Well, wouldn't this be a spot for Malik Willis? Aren't people already saying that, right? Like
They are.
because he's already he's somebody that has shown significant potential over the last 2 years when he's gotten in for the Green Bay Packers, and you know, but the question is how much would he command? And I'm not a capologist. I don't play one on TV. I would find it hard to believe that somebody knowing the cap in a hard place or hard rock place, if you will, that the Dolphins are in with Tua, that someone would say, let's make this trade. We'll take that contract on and not leave it at your feet. I imagine this would have to be a cut. Would you mind, in best and you can tell, what the cap ramifications of cutting Tua would be, and would they be able to go and get somebody of Willis's stature and salary demand, Ian?
Okay, so first the Tua part of it. If they are going to do a trade, they are going to eat a lot of the salary. So it would really be just like, can they save whatever the number is, 5 or 10, and get some sort of draft pick, like a mid-round pick, something like that.
Right.
So either way, cap-wise, it stings. Like this is a problem. And if you're sort of understanding why the move for Chris Greer was made, like this is one of the reasons, right? So it's going to hurt. Can they afford Malik Willis is an interesting question, because you're right. Everyone in the world is saying, well, obviously he's going to go to Miami. It's the people who, traded for him and they know him well. And it's like, I think Malik Willis is going to have a really, really good market. Like when he's played in some tough situations, he has been really impressive. So can they find a way to keep him under the cap? I don't know, because they're going to have competition. So like, that's one thing that happens this time of year. Is, okay, so he has a background here. He's obviously going here. When you actually look at the money, that would be tough for Miami to do. They could do it. They got smart people, but it might be too big of a challenge.
Okay. And then you've got a market that could include Pittsburgh, depending on what Aaron Rodgers does, or Pittsburgh's evaluation of Will Howard. And then you've got Arizona, right? Would you mind hitting both Pittsburgh and Arizona's quarterback situations best you can tell here in the few minutes we have?
Yeah,
left?
I mean, I think Pittsburgh would like to have Aaron Rodgers back. They've been in touch. They've been in contact. I think there's some hope there. And Pelissero did a good job of explaining this Super Bowl Sunday. Like the fact that he's already in contact with Mike McCarthy, the fact that he's going to decide before free agency, this is a good thing. So, there's definitely some smoke there with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
As far as Arizona, they have a tougher decision to make than Miami does. Like, feels like Miami is probably parting ways with Tua. With Kyler, he's due less money. He has played good football and has not, look, I think best case scenario for Kyler is he's cut and goes the Russell Wilson route of signing for, $1 million, the minimum, whatever it is, and just is a good value. But there's a new regime. And if you're Mike LaFleur, if you look at it and say, like, who are we going to get? It's better. And also we're paying for him anyway. I think Arizona, to me, is more of an open question, because, like, when he's right, Kyler's still pretty good.
Right. Okay. And the timeline on all this is before the new league year in less than a month? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So this all should be handled, I think, before the middle of March. Yes.
And so what do you expect the free agency period to look like? Give me crystal ball it for me as you sit there from your post-President's Weekend ski lodge. Ian?
It's going to be very trade happy, I would imagine. Because the actual free agency is is probably not as talent fresh as you'd want. And teams are being smarter and more proactive about signing their own guys now. So free agency is not included as much talent as you want. So generally what smart teams do, and we saw a bunch of it last year, is who's available for trade. So that's where, to me, the sort of fun market is going to be, is who can you trade for, what can you get, and how wild does it get? Because there's a whole group of, risk-happy GMs that will make trades and go, you know what, we will live with the results. And it could be a little wacky for us, but I think it'll be fun too.
And Pickens, and then there's the Super Bowl MVP and Kenneth Walker III, who apparently used the parade podium to counsel the general manager on the bag. What do you got for me on that front, Ian?
So Ken Walker, there's a couple of running backs who are up. Ken Walker and Breece Hall. I'd be a little surprised if they got tagged. Transition tag is interesting, though, because it's a couple $1 million less, and it lets an agent go out and shop. I'm not saying that's happening, but would be certainly an interesting option, I think, for both those guys. The Pickens one stands out to me. Cowboys made an incredible trade last year, one of the best trades of the year, getting him.
Mm-hmm.
If they, do they do a long-term deal with him with David Mulgeta, the agent? Interesting. Possible. But I know a lot of teams are interested. I know they'll have some trade options. If they say, like, okay, we trade him for 3, but we can get a 2 back and let someone else do a long-term deal, is that beneficial for them? I think the tag and trade option for Pickens is fascinating as well.